All right, welcome everyone to today's session. I'd like to start by introducing our presenters. We've got Shaun O'Meara, who is our Global Field CTO, along with Adam Parco, who is our CTO, and they will be walking you through a sneak peek at our roadmap coming up for the next few quarters. Just a couple of quick housekeeping items. We definitely encourage you to submit some questions. I'll be tracking those and sharing those with Shaun and Adam today as we go along. So if you've got questions, please be sure to drop those in the question box. And of course, the recorded version will be posted on our website, mirantis.com, in about a day or so. So if there's anything you'd like to go back and check out or share with your friend, you should be able to find the link there. So welcome, thank you for joining us, and I will turn it over to Adam now.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Welcome, everyone. Glad you guys were able to join. Mirantis has been very busy. There's a lot of exciting, interesting things we've been working on, as well as a lot of interesting, exciting things coming up. So we're really excited about it. We're here to give you a quick sneak peek of what we've been doing. I hope you guys also get as excited as we are. So I'll hand it over to Shaun and introduce himself and go ahead.
Cool, thanks, Adam. Well, good day, everybody. It's glad to have you all here. We're as Adam pointed out, we're very excited about what we have been doing and what we've got coming up into the future. Lots of plans, lots of great things happening. So without spending too much more time, and let's get into the meat of it. We're going to structure today's session a little bit around why we're doing what we're doing and the vision we have for the company. And Adam and I will work this between us backwards and forwards. Just to kick us off, we are talking roadmap here. Everything here that we're talking about is for informational purposes. Anything is subject to change, the nature of a roadmap. So bear with us, please, and please feel free to ask questions and provide your feedback as we go. Okay. So the question we often get asked when we're looking at our roadmaps is why are we doing what we're doing, and what value do we intend for the businesses that we're servicing? So the first and foremost value we're trying to look at is how do we help our customers innovate in their markets? Everybody needs to be able to achieve greater value out of their business applications. And if you're spending a lot of time focused on your infrastructure, you're not focusing that time on your applications and building value for your business. So one of our core challenges that we're trying to help our customers with is how do we help them innovate faster? The second challenge which we're seeing is the world is moving more and more to consuming hybrid cloud services and hybrid cloud infrastructure. And by that, we mean a combination of on-premise or in the public cloud, or even consuming existing private cloud, and the challenges of using their legacy infrastructure that they already have. So a big focus for us is helping solve this challenge of how do you deal with offering an effective and consuming hybrid cloud infrastructure effectively. Fairly self-evident, we've seen many high-level many high-level security challenges happen in the industry over the last few weeks. Hacks at TikTok, challenges at Facebook this week with failures. How do we help customers maintain high levels of security and compliance? Security is more than just making sure our code is secure, but making sure that we're compliant to the correct rules, the standards are in place, and the access controls are in place. Everybody wants to do things cheaper. Everybody needs to save money. Everybody needs to deliver value at a lower cost so that we can build our profits. We want to help our customers to deliver that infrastructure value, deliver on the application value at the most affordable, in the most affordable way that they can. And then finally, one of the biggest demands we're seeing, and we have these challenges as well, it's finding the right talent. And then once you've found them, keeping that talent within your business. And if they're focused on things that aren't interesting to them or aren't focused on what brings you and your business the most value, that's not really helping you out at the end of the day. So if we can take away a lot of that pain, reduce the churn of dealing with infrastructure pain, make things a lot easier to deal with, you can attract and potentially retain that talent with a lot more ease. Now, these business challenges obviously lead to a number of technology challenges that have to be solved. And this is where we're focusing a lot of our energy today. Hybrid cloud's great, but we need that visibility. We need to know what's happening across all of these different, often totally dissimilar systems run by different organizations. And then we need to be able to control that environment. And to do that, we need visibility and control. Open source, plus all of the various vendors we're using, plus the fact that a combination of Kubernetes on its own isn't enough, is driving a huge amount of operational complexity within our systems. And the more components we have, the greater that complexity, potentially the more resources we need to manage those environments, the greater the chance of something going wrong. So it's a huge challenge, one we're very much trying to address, and Adam will talk more about that. I've spoken about hybrid, but one of the big things we're seeing a lot with our customers, and excuse me, we're seeing in the industry, is the idea that, okay, everyone's going all in on the cloud. They often go all in on a single cloud provider. That's great because they get a lot of services and a lot of value from that cloud provider, but they also get locked in and they lose a lot of the leverage they would have. They don't have an HA scenario necessarily if a provider has a failure. So how do we help customers manage this single provider risk, help them with the disaster recovery planning by selecting multiple providers, also potentially if they're on-prem, multiple data centers. I mentioned open source. Open source is very much part of our world today. More than 78% of businesses in the world are using some open source somewhere within their applications. And many so-called closed source applications that you can buy off the shelf are actually consuming a lot of open source components within them. We need to have effective open source strategies. We need to be able to manage our open source. We need to deal with things like software bomb for open source. All of those, whilst open source is incredibly powerful and provides us the ability to move faster, it also comes with certain inherent risks, which we need to mitigate and manage. We're focused on how do we help our customers do that. And then the final technology challenge that we're seeing is the vast majority of workloads are still sitting on legacy systems. And it's not that easy to just pick them up and move them across. So how do we help our customers? How do we help you focus on taking your existing applications, your existing landscape, and modernizing it? Being able to take advantage of all these great things that cloud brings us and cloud infrastructure and Kubernetes brings us. So ultimately, our goal here is to enable access to easily and safely consume cloud services for all stakeholders, and I'll add to that statement, across all systems. Over to you, Adam.
Thanks, Shaun. So we strongly believe that the world, the market, our industry is moving to the cloud everywhere era, right? So this is kind of maybe like a history lesson on the history of computing, right? So we started with the on-prem era, right? Everyone knows this. These big vendors you can see like IBM, Oracle Sun, and then there was kind of a shift, right? And this was the start of what we call the commoditization and virtualization. So we have new vendors like VMware and Red Hat, right? That really took those on-prem infrastructure and turned them into enterprise clouds, right? Servicing internal users, different business groups, offering the virtualization, right? Multi-tenancy, kind of like modernizing traditional infrastructure. And the next big leap there, though, was offering this as a service and an OpEx view versus like a CapEx view, where it's entirely managed for you, in someone else's cloud, right? So this was the public cloud era. So obviously the big names like AWS, Azure, GCP, everyone else. But what we have seen from our customers, what we've been reading, and every analyst report, basically everyone is hybrid cloud. Everyone is multi-cloud. People are picking and choosing services that are most efficient or most effective or geographically located, because it's not a one-size-fits-all story anymore, right? Every company has edge initiatives. They got regional offices. They need a solution that works everywhere, right? So we're banking on, and we saw this opportunity, and we're banking on the cloud everywhere era. And what this allows us to do is be infinitely scalable, because we consume any infrastructure anywhere, whether it's on-prem, it's in the cloud, it's in private data centers, becomes invisible through our abstraction of the infrastructure, has the highest ROI as our costs are very competitive, and it allows you to leverage the most efficient infrastructure for your specific workloads and your business needs. And as Shaun has been mentioning, with our offering being built on open source, there's no lock-in, right? No lock-in at two levels, I guess, in that your application workloads are portable between clouds, and even no lock-in with Mirantis because we're based on open source, and the value add is through a service through us. So if if it ever came down to it and you had to go off, right, you could recreate the infrastructure with pure upstream open source. Next slide, Shaun. Shaun, I think this one was you were going to speak.
Okay. So if we're looking at what Adam's been talking about, and one of the big core functions of what Adam mentioned there is this idea that there's no lock-in, and that provides us also with choice. Now, I spoke about the open source, and I mentioned that obviously we're using open source comes with a number of challenges. Ensuring this environment works for you in this cloud everywhere as a service model. The way we're delivering on that is very important, and we believe strongly that these 4 pillars are the key to achieving an effective cloud everywhere as a service model. So the first of those pillars for us is this idea of an as a service offering. So everything as a service, so that you can consume infrastructure and consume resources wherever you need them. But we feel strongly and that you have to have that other service with guaranteed outcomes. And guaranteed outcomes here is more than just SLAs on uptime. It's being able to achieve your needs with guarantees so that you can ensure that you will have resources available when you need them, that your applications will run where you need them, that your systems can be up within the right amount of time. So the guaranteed outcomes are here is more than, as I say, just than SLAs. It's more about how you use the service and the experience of using that service across this multi-cloud. All of that is ensured by us making a clear goal of having an efficient and consistent distributed cloud service. And consistent there is incredibly important. Portability is enabled by consistency. By having a consistent underlay, consistently secured environment, consistent containerized infrastructure, today using Kubernetes as an orchestrator, we're able to ensure that applications are portable across all of these different infrastructures, giving us that freedom of movement. Security I spoke about earlier. Security is obviously core, and you have to be secure by default. If you are deploying a system, putting applications on it, and then securing it, you're probably insecure. So start with a secure system and build up from there. And then, as Adam mentioned, everything is focused around the cloud native ecosystem and being able to leverage that innovation that's out there. There is so much great work being done in the open source community. We need to be able to take advantage of it and contribute back to it, which is a very important part of us being able to achieve this goal of moving from the model that we have today to this cloud everywhere as a service, where the data center no longer is a box or a self-contained entity, where we can start to see all of these services as the holistic view of the data center.
So one of the major, thanks, Shaun. One of the major benefits you get with our platform is the ability to ship code faster, right? We think that's one of the most important things a platform can deliver. The world's moving really fast, right? Nobody wants to focus on boilerplate code or get bogged down in complexity or security issues. So we've chosen 3 pillars to base our platform and products around. It'd be simplicity, security, and choice. For simplicity, we think about providing an elegant, consistent cloud experience across all clouds, right? Public, private, bare metal, with complete application and also DevOps portability. So not only are applications able to operate on Kubernetes everywhere, but the DevOps workflows and automation that an enterprise has developed to support those applications also become portable. For secure cloud, it's differentiated through Mirantis Kubernetes engine with several certs, right? We have BIPS 140-2, STIG, OSCAL, and we're also working on FedRAMP for certain customers. And we provide this all built in, pre-configured, secured at a number of layers within the technology stack, sure that developers don't need to worry about security. A big part here is our ability to offer a secure supply chain end to end, right, from our container runtime through our secure registry into Kubernetes engine as well. And then, with this being built in and pre-configured for you, it's like we'd like to say it's invisible security. Again, so that developers can focus on getting their code to production, shipping code faster, and getting things done. Last is choice, like real choice, every level of the stack. So any tools, frameworks that an organization either needs to use or is more familiar with, or is better suited, can work within our platform. Right? We offer, I'm sure you've heard the analogy before, like batteries included but swappable. We have the same thing. You can choose your infrastructure, you choose your platform, you choose your dev tools, whatever, works everywhere, not prescriptive. And these three pillars together allows devs, DevOps, everybody to ship code faster. Next slide, please, Shaun. So Mirantis is the DevOps as a service platform, dev and DevOps operator. So you can see we play in two spaces, right, from the cloud native development to the cloud native operations. So on the development side, our container runtime is, I'd say that the base and the start. It's built on and based on the Docker engine. It's 100% API compliant. It's an enterprise grade, BIPS hardened, commercially supported version of a Docker engine supporting Windows and Linux. That in conjunction with the secure registry form the core of our cloud native development part of our company. The secure registry has that secure supply chain. You can push and pull images. They get scanned for vulnerabilities. You can sign them. They can get automatically promoted to different environments, based on conditions such as like license checks and vulnerability checks, testing results, right? Automating that whole inner developer loop and outer developer loop cycles. This is where Container Cloud comes in as well. It kind of bridges that gap between development and operations. So Container Cloud allows operators to create infrastructure, manage infrastructure, visualize it, secure it, but at the same time, it also offers APIs. So it's self-service and can be leveraged directly by developers in their workflows, right? To create, say, maybe ephemeral clusters for testing and staging, to deploying workloads directly to production. Container Cloud deploys Kubernetes engine, right? It runs on top of the container runtime as well. So, you can create bare metal clusters. You can create clusters on VMware, public cloud, private cloud, all the places we spoke about. And then lastly, we have a lot of customers that are still very much interested, and there's a lot of legacy applications and reasons for virtualization. And we've completely modernized OpenStack as well and containerized it. And it's just another workload that runs on top of Container Cloud and provides a virtualization layer that can be used in combination with Kubernetes as well to offer a very, customizable and specific architectures to meet our customers, various like environments and layouts. Lastly, Lens up on top, right, provides visibility and insight and connectivity to the entire platform. Today, it connects into and visualizes Kubernetes engine and any other Kubernetes as well. It's very handy. It also connects into Container Cloud. You can log into Container Cloud and then synchronize any clusters you have on premise and get access to them and share them with colleagues. And going forward, Lens is going to be a central part of our platform and will be the entry point, and we'll visualize more and more of our platform here, bringing everything together and making a very cohesive, very simple to use
experience. So all of this together creates our containers as a service platform, and underpinned and powered through our excellent and vast partner ecosystem as well. Next slide, Shaun.
So Adam has talked a lot about what Container Cloud brings to the party, but I want to talk a little bit about what we've actually achieved with Container Cloud over the last year and a bit. So Container Cloud provides us that central management control point. It allows us to deploy and put Mirantis Kubernetes Engine and OpenStack on a number of different infrastructures. And through Container Cloud, we're able to very easily provide systems to cover a number of different use cases. So today, Container Cloud is what we're putting out there. It handles the delivery of Mirantis Kubernetes Engine onto all of the platforms that are at the bottom. So Azure, AWS, Equinix Metal, on-prem, we've got VMware, OpenStack, and then of course the bare metal management. This then is how we do our full stack management, and we're going to be focusing on adding more capabilities to Container Cloud and more provider options and more systems options as we move into the future. I want to also call out K0s, which is, we'll talk about on the roadmap shortly, but K0s is a small footprint offering that we're doing for Kubernetes, which will be how we're going to answer the 5G and edge use cases and the IoT use cases as we move into the future, also orchestrated through Container Cloud, providing you with that full automated environment where we can run everything from the definition of VMs or the management of bare metal all the way through to the operating system and then the deployment of the Kubernetes on top of that, and then the full lifecycle management of that. So updates, upgrades, and everything else in between, along with the visualization of the environment, all enabled through Lens as we move into the future. So I'll hand over to Adam here, but we've recently launched a new offering called Mirantis Flow, and Adam will break this down for us a little bit.
Thanks, Shaun. Feel free to jump in too, Shaun, if you have anything on Flow. So yeah, we recently launched this, I think is last month. It's pretty unique for us. I found it's pretty exciting. What it has done is it's taken our entire product portfolio and created an offering that allows us to meet different or new needs to our customers. We want to be able to replace more of their legacy infrastructure with our modern cloud native based version, right? So the base of it is Container Cloud, but it comes with absolutely everything in our stack, right from the registry to the runtime to our Kubernetes engine. You even get Lens spaces, and as you can see, right, we take that middle chunk of traditional computing. We start to kind of blend down also into infra, especially if you start to partner, or if you use one of our partners like Equinix Metal, we can take over more of infra as well. And we even start to approach upwards as well with our platform engineering as a service, taking over more and more of customers, boilerplate code like CI/CD pipelines, maybe like a database as a service, and we've had success with that as well. So more and more, we're allowing our customers to focus purely on their applications while we replace more and more of their infrastructure from end to end. And we're doing this also in kind of like a first for Mirantis in more of a kind of consumption or minimum commitment based way, right? So it's a month-to-month payment. It's flexible, right? So whether you're using Kubernetes or using containers or using OpenStack and virtualization, you can kind of mix and match. It's offered as a service like all our products we're pushing towards, right? And this is especially true in that we also offer the guaranteed outcomes here for workload migration, right? So taking any of your existing VM images and we help you to onboard them as well as set up existing deployment of Container Cloud and get those workloads running and guarantee that all is this single package, right? That as only a minimum monthly commitment. And it's very flexible to your specific deployment to get started. I feel like I'm missing something, Shaun. What else? Did I miss anything here?
So I'd like to highlight a few things that you've said. So one of the big goals for us, and Adam spoke about this earlier, is this drive towards simplicity. And of course, having simplicity for us is very much what we do with Lens, with Container Cloud. It's how we present the systems to you, but we also want to drive that simplicity into the way you consume our products. So one of the core tenets of the way Flow works is this as a service model, as Adam's mentioned. We're also trying to simplify the licensing models to make it much easier so that you can select what you need. And Adam pointed this out. You want virtualization, you can have virtualization. If you want containerization, you can have that on top of it. Let's simplify the licensing models and really make it on consumption. To achieve that, though, what's really important is we've also offered and layered on our ops care services. And one of the big changes we've made over the last quarter is a big enhancement to our ops care services. And this is how we're moving forward into the future. So that, and I'll talk about that in a minute in a lot more detail, but ops care is our way of enabling you to consume these services in the simplest way possible. And we've got two big flavors of that. And I'll talk the details.
One last thing, Shaun, I'm going to mention Mirantis on Mirantis. It's also pretty...
Yes, good point. So one of the things which we want to make it again easier for our customers is if you're using Mirantis for virtualization and you're running Mirantis products like Mirantis Kubernetes engine in virtual machines, excuse me, on top of a Mirantis OpenStack on Kubernetes deployment, you won't pay for extra licenses for those MKE deployments. So as long as your base infrastructure is licensed, you won't have to pay for those extra. So it's no Mirantis or Mirantis extra charge here. The goal again being simplify the experience, allow you to grow without putting extra barriers in the way. And again, as I said, being able to consume that in a pay-as-you-go model so that it can scale with you. So very much changing the way we look at the world and the way we present our software. And making it simpler for you to consume both across on-prem and into the public cloud so that you can build truly hybrid cloud. And we can drive towards this multi-cloud hybrid cloud scenario. And by integrating all those things, and Adam pointed out the red parts here, we're slowly expanding outwards from these, both down and up into the stack to, again, make your life simpler and easier, but always giving you the choice of what you use at any point. So that let me pop in and let's talk about what ops care is. And I think it's very exciting, and this is very much part of our roadmap for the future and how we're going to offer our as a service models. So traditionally, we've offered two licensing options. We had prod care, which was a fairly traditional software service model where something went wrong, you had to call us. What we've decided is we're only going to offer ops care and ops care plus moving into the future. Ops care is what we're calling the co-pilot model. So as part of ops care, we will work with you and provide you all the tools and the systems to be able to scale your environments. We'll support you with the design and deployment. Part of those guaranteed outcomes we spoke about there is we can deploy Container Cloud and a working infrastructure within 48 hours on-prem for you. We'll do all the lifecycle management of those environments that we deploy. So we provide you all the automation, all the components necessary so that you can run your environments with confidence that you will always be up to date. You'll be able to get the latest patches in quickly and easily with little or no interruption, preferably no interruption to your workloads. And then what's important, we offer two operational models. We offer an operational model where we do proactive monitoring on your behalf. You can then manage the environment yourself, or we can offer the Ops Care Plus model where we're actually doing the full end-to-end management for you. And let me break those down a little bit further. So we've got Ops Care and we've got Ops Care Plus. We're calling the co-pilot for Ops Care. In Ops Care, we'll proactively monitor and escalate everything in your environment. We have no access into your environment. It's all pushed alerting to us. But as part of that, what's really interesting is we've included Lens spaces. So Container Cloud is the core of how we manage those environments or how you manage those environments. Lens spaces allows you to share access back to your environment on a temporary basis, or even to just a particular cluster on a temporary basis, allowing our engineers to get access with you to troubleshoot or deal with any challenges you may see. So the core differences between OpsCare and OpsCare Plus. In OpsCare Plus, it's a fully managed. We would need access to your environments, and we will do the full monitoring, managing, operations, change management, change execution within your environment. And then additionally, you still have that lens spaces capability, which allows us to even go deeper and help you with challenges within your Kubernetes clusters themselves. And as part of another offering, which we'll be talking about coming out in the near future, we'll be able to even help you with the DevOps capabilities around that. So lots of interesting things happening. This is the way we're looking at the future. OpsCare and OpsCare Plus are core to what we're planning and how we're going to deliver on a lot of our roadmap capabilities in the future.
I'm gonna add a little bit of color here. So we, Shaun's mentioned it, I've mentioned it, but I kind of want to, double down or triple down on it. So our platform is, quote unquote, like as a service, right? Like a SaaS. It's although it's run on customer infrastructure, right? So it's a very, new, unique, modern kind of way to deliver on-premise software. It's continuously deployed, continuously upgraded. The deployment is can be fully managed for you, right? Any errors or issues are proactively resolved. So it's basically like a public cloud wherever you need it, and that's just built into the offering, which is I think a very unique or interesting approach to historical kind of say like shrink wrap enterprise software, right? Where it's hard to upgrade it. Falls out of date. Features are slow. You're on your own for solving issues, or it's field tickets you have to submit. Just completely customer-centric viewpoint on running infrastructure at cloud scale. So I just wanted to double down on that to make sure we got that point across here.
Yeah, I think it's a really important point, and I'm going to hopefully not rabbit hole here, but I also want to point out the way this works and the use of Container Cloud plus the support model also allows us to get new capabilities and new features to you really, really quickly. We're able to release and deliver new capabilities, new features, updates on an almost 3-weekly basis, sometimes even faster. Being able to move a lot faster and give you access to capabilities across all of these different platforms, whether it's on-prem or in the public cloud, a lot faster, a lot more securely, and in a way that helps you move faster.
And one interesting, another thing, not to keep rattling on us, but yeah, so we push out those updates, like Shaun said, like potentially every 3 weeks, right? Which is crazy fast for enterprise software. But that doesn't mean your production clusters or workloads are affected. That's just our main platform, and that allows you to upgrade your clusters, during your regular scheduled like maintenance periods. But it's a single click, all managed for you, but you still have that control. So you don't have to worry about us bringing down your workloads or something with a bad upgrade.
Yeah, and again, not to rabbit hole, everything we release is thoroughly tested over and over before we actually put it out there. So
sorry, that goes without saying.
All right, so now to the heart of the matter, and I think why most people are here today, who want to hear about what we're actually planning. So let's talk about the Cloud Native Technical Platform and the roadmap. And I think Adam and I will tag team this a little bit, but I'd like to point out a couple of the interesting things. So we're looking here at Q4 going into Q1, Q2 of 22. These are based around calendar quarters. It's often a question we get as we sometimes talk about things within our financial quarters. So a couple of cool things that I'll pick out here, and I think I'll grab some of the Container Cloud points here. So, Container Cloud is core to everything we're doing. And I move from the left, one of the big things that's coming in Q4, and it's imminent, is this ability for us to have the choice, again, of MKE and K0s so that you can cover more options when it comes to the use cases. So again, MKE very focused on enterprise workloads, very complete platform, lots of integration work there, but really makes it quick and easy for you to get your workloads going. K0s, on the other hand, is a much simpler Kubernetes offering. We deliver that as a single binary. But the great thing about it is it has a tiny, tiny footprint. So we can start using that on IoT devices, start using that on edge compute clusters, and there's a lot of exciting stuff coming for K0s, and I think I'll let Adam talk about that. But other things for Container Cloud, also coming in Q4, we're changing the way the Container Cloud is deployed today. We're adding a UI, making it easier and simpler. Again, focus on simplicity, making it easier to get that initial bootstrap of Container Cloud up and running. Spoke to somebody yesterday about the chicken and egg problem. Well, we're going to really make it easy. You can get it up and running in your environment in minutes through a very simplified interface. Other big thing for Container Cloud is the auto scaling that's coming. It's automated auto scaling for the compute nodes, allowing you to scale nodes based on very specific metrics wherever you need them. And that's kind of a cool capability, especially for customers who need to be able to grow and shrink their environments depending on the load. Adam, you want to talk about the K0 stuff? I think it's really exciting.
Sure, I'll go through some stuff. So the first one I want to talk about was the MSR on Kube there in Q4. So the secure registry was originally built on Swarm, right, a long time ago, and it was coupled to the Kubernetes engine as well. So we've been spending some time to kind of, just modernize the architecture of that to make it Kube native. And by doing this, it's going to give us a lot of flexibility to bring it in new places, right? So we can, even operate, say, on the Amazon Marketplace. It's going to be like a first-class citizen in Container Cloud and fully lifecycle managed. Easier upgrades. Everything's just going to be better with it. So that's something we've been working on for a while. And as you can see here, it's in the security bucket because it's the central point to our secure images, secure supply chain. But we're just going to make it much easier to deploy, manage, run, upgrade, absolutely everything. We'll have more visibility in Lens as well for it. So that's a really exciting feature. All the K0s stuff Shaun asked me to talk about. So K0s is a fantastic building block, right? It's distributed as a single binary. It's because it's a single binary, and we have a new FIPS crypto module that we can build with. It's one of the most end-to-end secure kube distributions out there in the way it's been architected. So it's very applicable for tons of use cases, right, from IoT edge into enterprise. I think it's really well suited for small devices and edge just because of its flexibility. It's also got some exciting roadmap features in here as well for things like auto upgrading of Kubernetes, and eventually even being able to upgrade the host OS right directly through that interface. K0's Enterprise will be just a different flavor of K0s, right, with different extensions bundled that are included and tested for different use cases than IoT Edge, right, of course. Another thing while I'm in Q1 there is alternate OCI runtimes for the container runtime. That's something we've been looking at, right, is adding like micro VMs, Kata containers, anything else that can add security and again, like choice on how you run your images and what runtimes you can use. For Container Cloud, I don't think Shaun mentioned it, but the engines, right, the policy engine, and then going into security policies. So, the first step, I guess, with Container Cloud is getting all the clusters together, right, being able to create infrastructure and view them. But after that, you're going to want to be able to operate on them through policies and in groups in bulk, right? So once we have all the clusters and infrastructure connected into one place, we want to be able to be more intelligent and apply policies to subsets of clusters and really help with that day two ops.
Cool. Yeah, one of the things I want to quickly just also call out, you know, with the K0 stuff, which is quite exciting, is we're also looking at a very different support model, and we spoke about our guaranteed outcomes. So for K0s, one of the things is we'll be offering a very, very high SLA for high and critical, I think it's critical CVEs, being able to get those out to you within days of finding them, getting those fixes available and onto your environments. Again, with a bit of a focus around the security, but as well as making sure that you can put trust in your systems. And that's going to be a part of what we offer there as well.
One of the cool things in addition to that is because it's a single binary and there's no host OS dependencies in K0s, so it includes the system libraries needed to run. If there's a vulnerability in a system library, we also control that, right, and can grab that CVE patched version, bundle it, and distribute it. And with our auto updates, right, it's all automatically applied, which could be, you know, days, weeks, months faster than in OS. You can release a similar patch.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, if anybody's got questions, there is a little bit of a delay with questions coming through, so I'll ask you just to put your questions in, and then we'll carry on here. I want to also highlight, these are just some of the key items, the more interesting items at a high level that we've grabbed. For each one of our products, there is a much more extensive roadmap with a lot more detail, a lot more interesting things happening. And we're happy to talk more about those, or if you have a specific interest in an area, we're happy to dig into that. So let us know. Whilst we're looking at this list, I also want to call out a couple of the cool things that are happening in the OpenStack space. So coming in Q4, and a lot has been happening in our OpenStack space, you know, with the mask release and a lot of the new use cases we can deal with Mask Plus, of course, is a lot happening around scaling of Mirantis OpenStack. But one of the big ones that's coming is this idea of scalable L3 networking, so that traditionally a lot of the OpenStack backends have been focused on utilizing layer L2 networks. L2 have inherent scaling challenges within the data center. We are bringing in native L3 networking as an underlay, supported underlay within Mirantis OpenStack. What this allows us to do is scale OpenStack clusters much faster with a much lower barrier, which effectively means we can build bigger clusters, bigger networks, and take advantage of proper spine leaf architectures within the data center. And this will also then leverage later on, as we move into Q2 of next year, having multi-DC networking around OpenStack, being able to have better connectivity within different data centers and essentially reducing the complexity of dealing with stretching clusters or stretching workloads over clusters within multiple data centers. Again, leading towards helping with things like DR and the like. What else do I want to point out here? Again, within security, did you mention the Notary v2 stuff that's coming for MSR? So we're updating Notary, giving you the ability to utilize Notary v2. Currently, we're embedding it. And I should also call out, which is not on here, the choice of scanning engines is coming for MSR. You'll be able to switch out the scanning engine to your own scanning engines if you wish to. Those are the key things. So for Container Cloud, we will have the GCP provider available mid next year. And then a lot of work happening around security policies, policy engine. So cool. Anything else we want to add here? Any questions that you want us to answer, please let us know. Otherwise, I think we'll wrap it up here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not seeing any more questions come in, but just want to give another second and another, again, thank you to those that joined. Shaun and Adam, any other last comments before we close it out?
Yeah, just one, we have a lot of exciting stuff happening and a lot of stuff that we're going to be putting out there over the next couple of weeks and months. KubeCon is next week. Hope to see as many of you there as possible, either in person or virtually. Lots of exciting stuff happening there in the Lens and the K0 space as well. plus the enterprise products, we're doing some really cool things as we're moving forward here and building out our service offerings. So Adam and his team have been doing some fantastic work. Really looking forward to seeing what's coming out of them as we move forward here.
Yeah, one last thing I'd like to mention too is if you guys have the time to go and you haven't tried yet, to check out the Container Cloud hosted trial. So around our website, you can log in and get access to a Container Cloud instance that we manage. So you can play around with it, create some infrastructure on our partner Equinix Metal, deploy workloads, kind of see firsthand how the stuff works together.
Okay. And then last word from me, we love hearing your feedback. We love hearing your input. So please, let us know what you'd like to see in the future, how we can help you solve your problems. Let us know. We really love that input. Cool. So thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Ciao.